Go for it.
Aloha, snack bar, and good morning, everybody. It's the one, the only, the ape, the gorilla in the Econo Mist, coming to you live on another edition with Mornings with V and CJ. And we are just having one of those days, man. It's a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And hopefully you guys have some great weekend plans coming up. And if you get a chance, please follow us on Twitter at The Rogue Money. Check us out on roguemoney.net. And also check us out on the Rogue Money Facebook. If you have an Apple iPhone, check out the Rogue Money podcast on the podcasting app on Apple, as well as Pocket Casts on Android. You can check us out there as well. Just type in Rogue Money, and we will pop up. You can subscribe to the podcast. That's why most listeners listen to us commercial free. With that being said, also, um, if you have the Apple News app, just go into it, type in Rogue Money, and voila, we are there. With that being said, if you're having some New Year's resolutions, and this is a resolution for you financially, check out the guys that I'm leading, the team that is called myfreedomnow.us. Myfreedomnow.us. It is the financial resolution. They are able to fix your credit score, get your credit score to where it needs to be, so you can either refinance a house, buy a car, get a better interest rate on a credit card, and or get out of debt. You got collections agencies calling you. You have tax liens, judgments, bankruptcies, foreclosures that are hounding you, that are haunting your credit report. Get to myfreedomnow.us. Book a call with yours truly, and let's get you on the road to financial success. Once again, it's myfreedomnow.us. With that being said, CJ, my main man, how are you this morning, bro?
I am doing wonderful, V. I'm pumped up. It's Friday. It's the weekend again. I think it should always be the weekend, V.
Oh, dude, tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. Do, 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 do,
Yeah, but
do.
I'm doing great. It's just a tad chilly here. In the Midwest. I think we woke up with like, single digit, weather. It's like I think looking at my phone, I think it said 2 degrees to start out the day. So yeah, it's just a tad chilly.
That is a balmy 2 degrees, man. I don't even know what the weather is outside. I don't know what they're even saying. Let me find out real quick.
That's the standing temperature too. That's not even with the wind chill or anything.
Oh God, that's horrible, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Oh wait, I'm much more warmer than you. Um, I'm about 25 degrees over here. So I'm in the 20s. That's much more
right.
warmer than the Arctic tundra you're in. I think the high is going to be around 30 something degrees, 31 or 32. That's going to be tomorrow's going to be breathtakingly wonderful. It's going to be a high of 24. Oh, it's great, CJ.
Woo! It's a
Good
heat
good
wave.
weather here. Oh yeah,
Get the flip flops out.
it's a heat wave. Get
I
the
will tell
flip
you something
flops
though.
out,
V.
man.
I will tell you something though. Yesterday I downloaded a podcast and I'm driving around. I got a couple errands to run. Now all of a sudden I hear V coming over the radio with an advertisement. I was like,
Ah!
what the? I was like, what the heck is that? I was like pulled over and everything like that just to make sure that I had the right thing open. Like on my phone for the podcast. Yeah. So that was very cool to hear your advertisement on Infowars, bro.
Yes, yes. If you've been listening to uh, Alex Jones's show Infowars, our My Freedom Now ad is playing on there. It's been playing on there this whole week. Check it out. It's a pretty cool ad. Well done. And I think I realized I have a very commercial voice, CJ.
You do. It's just all jazzed up, sexed up,
That's it,
muscle
bro.
behind it.
That's it. I wanted to get deep, get deep, like a Barry White. Like, are you suffering from debt? Do you have debt collectors calling you?
Mix it up, maybe a little R&B to start, and then turn it into like either some Schwarzenegger with some metal sound after it or something.
That's it. Do you have debt? Do you have debt after you? Are they running after you like you're running to the chopper? Go now to myfreedomnow.com.
See, I think that's what you should have done. I mean that would fit it perfect. And then Alex could have jumped in behind it to start off his show with one of his voices that he does. So yeah, very very good stuff.
Exactly. Maybe we could have Bane on there. Tell me, do you have corrections agencies calling you? Go now. What are you waiting for? Do it.
Good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Oh man, it's too early for this, CJ. It's too
I
early for
know. I
this.
know. I know. I know.
Dude, I'm still not used to. I'm trying to get my body to sleep in this new year at a timely, at a timely normal time. And it's early for me, man. I'm trying to get to bed like at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I just
But your
can't
body's
settle.
still telling you to stay awake. Your body's still telling you, hey, you know what? There's news
Yeah,
happening on the other side of the pond. Get up. Go see what's going
get up,
on.
get up. And I'm trying to cut down on the amount of work I'm doing overseas. And it's like like 3 in the morning before I actually 3, 4 in the morning before I actually settle into like some REM sleep or something, man. It's pretty bad, pretty bad. And then I wake up
Yeah.
and
So
mad
good.
groggy.
No, good.
No, go
Well,
ahead,
no, it
man.
was
Go ahead.
interesting. I heard you yesterday, and then I thought, you know what? I listened to a few more minutes of the show and everything, and so I kicked over and I started. I remember what we covered yesterday during our show, and talking about the whole Chicago thing. I'm like, let's go see what the MSM in the White House is saying, and
Oh
it was
God.
a joke. It was an absolute joke, B. So here we have a white boy that's beaten by
Yep.
4 black youths, okay? And the White House comes out and says, it's a little premature to determine if it was politically and hate act.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the media jumps in behind it with, well, we don't think it was a hate crime. We need to wait and get all the facts out.
Oh, now
You
all of
know,
a sudden they're waiting for the facts and they're being unbiased. Oh,
Yeah, and like we talked yesterday, if you flip the situation, that the Justice Department would have been there overnight. Oh, they would have been there within the hour. That Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, that they would have been, definitely there. Protesting. They would have shut Magnificent Mile down in Chicago. There would have been protest and everything. But it is what it is. I just, like we talked about yesterday, we were more concerned about this individual, this young adult disabled
terrible, man.
guy, and I partnered with you, and we talked about, let's do something for him. Let's figure out what his situation is. If his family wants to remain private, let's respect that. So we reached out to a couple people on the Trump side, and then also the Chicago side on the reporters, to see what we can figure out, what we can do to help this young man with either maybe a fundraiser, maybe he's down on his luck, maybe he needs some help with special services or something. But we don't want to focus on the negative of it happening. We want to try to do everything we can to get this young man some help, and he's going to be pretty traumatized by that for a while.
Yeah, 1,000%, man. I mean, as I was reading the full story of what was going on, I mean, I kind of avoided the whole situation with that article yesterday. I really try to avoid not getting into the details because I knew it was going to just piss me off. And when you're reading it, you're like, yo, man, this guy was, held against his will. He was tortured for like, 48 hours or something like that. The fact that they cut the guy to his scalp, okay, where his scalp was exposed, he was bleeding. The fact that they made him drink toilet water. The fact that you got these 4 freaking low IQ animals. Okay, 4 freaking low IQ animals. Look, there's a point when you're not in my book, you're not a human being anymore, and it's irrespective of skin color. Because I'll be honest with you, I've seen people with very low IQs that are in the 60s. Okay, act and behave very similarly. It's like a similar pattern. All right, and here you have in Chirac, the democratically controlled Chirac, which is dominated by left wing lunatics, insane policies, and on top of which you have a bunch of single mothers raising kids who are all on welfare. And I loved watching these idiots on CNN, these pronunciators, absolutely having a meltdown trying to figure out. And that idiot, whoever it was, Cheryl Jones, whatever the hell it is, the one who looks like the girl from Ghostbusters, okay, um, and she kind of looks like, to me, looks like Leslie Jones, but whatever. I'm taking a shot at her. I'm being facetious and being funny here, but anyway. For her to say, we don't know if these kids are, to assume that these kids are coming from single parent homes. We don't know that. Well, they're probably coming from homes with both mommy and the daddy, and they're probably working very hard. And, they just made a dumb decision. No, you jackass. Here's the deal. The majority of Chicago, when you get into inner city Chicago, it's like 99% single moms. Look at any crime statistic anywhere. It's all single moms. It's all Democrats. It is the way it is. It is the way it is. And I think the guy who highlights it the best is on YouTube, especially, and on what his radio show is, Tommy Sotomayor. I follow his work. I agree with a lot of what Tommy says. It is Democrats and single mothers. Hell, I agree with totally. And dude, you cannot have out of control lunatic individuals. Okay, especially like there's no proper family structure. The mom's on welfare. She's on drugs. She's just as stupid as the kids she's raising. Okay, when your parental unit is just about as stupid as the kid that they're raising, you got a problem. When the parental unit is just as dumb and just as short-sighted and has the same impulses that the child has, you got a problem. Okay, I mean, how many videos have I seen where these idiot parents are actually going into high school and fighting with their friends? I mean, fighting with the kids, right? They're literally fighting with the kids, the kids that their kids are fighting. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen. Okay, this is the kind of crap that happens. It's like there's nothing. It's these again. I blame it on the damn libtards. And this is what happens. There's no personal responsibility. This is what 40, 50 years of Democrat policy brings to a city, brings to a state. We see it in Chicago. We see it in California. And now I'm hearing rumors on the grapevine that Hillary, and I pray to God this ain't true because it's bad enough with de Blasio down here, that Hillary Clinton might be running for mayor of New York in about a year or two. I mean, are you kidding me, man?
Wow.
I'm scared, man. I'm literally scared. I mean, I've seen the change of what happened with de Blasio. Here comes the homeless people. Here comes the mistrust towards the cops. Here comes the vilification of here. Everything is race. Ooh, there's racism everywhere. The boogeyman called racism, trying to grab you and kill you. Man, stop. It's just stop. I mean, here's the thing. I don't care about your. There's a whole saying. Facts don't care about your feelings, right? When you have a segment of the inner city population, you got a 74% illegitimacy rate. When you got less than 6% of the population committing 54% of the crimes, it's not a race issue. It's a statistical issue. And the way cops are trained. Look, man, I got friends of mine who are cops. I got friends who are black police officers, Hispanic police officers, whatnot. They get into some areas. They're like, man, I hate being here. It's like what Chris Rock says. There's a difference between what and what. So it is what it is, man. And the statistics. You're in an area. It's violent. It fits a certain demographics. It is what it is. Okay. This crap exists because of the damn plantation politics that's been played on the minority communities for decades. It's got to stop. And the way it stops, instead of it starts with better education. It starts with stop voting Democrat. It starts with that. CJ, go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say, I agree with what you said, and the other thing I want to throw into that equation is that that we need to teach our young men as they grow up how to be a dad, how to be a real father, because a lot of those single mothers that are out there, if any dick can make a baby, right? But it takes a real man to be a father. So how many of those single mothers out there that are still trying to make it, that have a deadbeat dad out there that doesn't care enough to be involved with your child's life, not to ensure that they're disciplined, that they're staying in school, that they're doing the right things. So, the deadbeat dads out there, come on, man up.
Yeah,
take responsibility for your actions.
1,000%. And the women from the inner city get themselves in check because most of these women are just absolutely intolerable to begin with. Number one, number two, it's this whole dude, ever since the 60s, when they took like when they rolled out welfare and they replaced the father with the state. That's when you started seeing this whole downward trend. Look, man, here's the deal. I don't care if this is politically correct or not. No woman is going to raise a man, period. I don't give a rat's around how strong you think you are. You ain't raising no man, period. No man. You can raise a nice little sissy boy. You ain't raising no man. Done. I don't care. I don't care what people think about that statement. It is what it is, CJ.
Roger that.
Oh, man. But yeah, anyway, dude, that whole situation yesterday with the guy getting kidnapped, and look, at the end of the election on November the 9th, one of the things I went on the air and I said, well, I've said this, and you and I both said this, bro. The worst thing that could happen is for the media to go full retard. Is for the media to get more left wing, to double
Oh,
down rather
exactly.
than learning from it.
Exactly.
And now they gone full retard, bro.
Boom, you called it. You're right. And they have continuously attacked. They have continued to to say Trump is this and that, and they have vilified him for so long. And this is the end result. So media, there's you have some responsibility. You have some skin in this game of what happened. And I don't care. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, the media is not responsible for what happened, everything else." But it's so quick that they blame the other side, the GOP, when things happen. How many times did we hear through the process whenever Trump was winning the nominee that he's resulting, if you look at all the violent crimes and everything, he's resulting in all these violent things that are happening. It's a culture shift that's happening across the country right now. Well, that's not true at all. And what happened yesterday, that crime was just absolutely off the charts. It was difficult to even watch.
It was incredibly. I thought I was watching an ISIS video, man, minus the beheading.
No doubt, no doubt.
I thought I was watching the ISIS video minus the beheading, and and I'm looking at this whole thing. I'm just like, dude, this is ridiculous. And for them, idiots like Don Lemon, that Don, I want to pierce my nipples on New Year's Lemon.
Oh God.
Okay, Don, I can't hold my drink Lemon. Don, I'm going to search for a new boyfriend in 2017 Lemon. This guy, an idiot. I just want to be objective. I can't call it a hate crime. Don Lemon, he's out there, and he's like, well, this is I wouldn't call it evil. I wouldn't call it evil. This is just these are just kids just with bad home training. Really? We all, here's the thing with you dumb retards in the media, you far leftist sycophant bastards. Those who are still claiming the boogeyman of racism. Those who still think, like that idiot, the woman that was on that CNN panel that was screaming, well, we just can't say that. I mean, we had so many things to go through. We had over, 400 years of slavery. I'm like, this is 2016. Like, what is the excuse? Some excuses are just getting tired, man. This is the white privilege, blah, 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 blah. And they're going on and on about this bull crap. And we all know, what would these idiots, these talking head, useless, worthless morons who are not worth 2 cents, what would they be saying if it was a mentally disabled black kid that was kidnapped and tortured by four white young people? What would have? Dude, we would have had, like you said, they would have shut down the Magnificent Mile. Al Sharpton will be there with Jesse High Jackson. They would have been singing Kumbaya. You would have, whole Chicago would be shut down. They'll probably be rioting. Half the city will be burning. They'll be calling for hate crime right away, right off the bat. Oh, it's a hate crime. It's hate crime, and they'll be calling for the death penalty. I mean, dude, this is what is, no justice, no peace, and then maybe like 10 more cops would have gotten shot. I mean, this is ridiculous, bro. But we all know that that's the reality of it. Heck, every person with 2 brain cells to rub together, irrespective of your skin color, knows that.
Exactly. And the good thing is that our listeners, they know the truth, right? Our listeners are smart enough to figure that out and share that. But yeah, anyway, yeah, it was a bad thing, and it looks like they did do the right thing, and they did prosecute it as a hate crime. So, but again, we're actively trying to reach out to the family to see what we can do to help this young man and his road to recovery.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Anyway, moving on, man. Let's talk about breaking globalists here.
And, yeah.
There is a lot going on. I mean, you see the CIA and their veiled threat. Oh my God. No president that has went up against the CIA has ever come out looking pretty. Like it was some sort of a veiled threat, CJ, because we know what's happening, man. We know what's happening. Trump is taking a sledgehammer right to the knees of the deep state. And they are freaking out, bro. They are totally freaking out, right?
They, not only are they freaking out, but they're waging a very dangerous point here. These little covert type. They tried it with the whole election before to say, oh yeah, the Soviets were involved. You have John McCain now actively asking, if the hack on the election was an act of war by Russia. They're playing a very dangerous game here, and this narrative that they're trying to push, it's not going to work. B.
It's not going to work at all because no one's buying it, man. John McCain, his evidence. I know there was a hack. How do you know? Well, we saw the Russians celebrate Trump's victory. Therefore, there was a hack. That's proof positive. They were celebrating. And we want to know if it's an act of war. Says the bum who was rectally probed with bamboo sticks. Maybe that's what made him go crazy, bro. Maybe that's what probably, I don't know what it is. Maybe it was the bludgeoning with the bamboo sticks. Maybe the fact that, John McCain just dropped dead. That's all I got to say to you. Your face looks like it's melting off. You're mentally insane. You just go away. You and your boyfriend Lindsey Graham needs to go. They need to take a long walk off a short plank, man. They need to go have several.
Yeah, and I know that yesterday with your hanging with Harley, you guys talked about a little around the globalist agenda and the deep state, and I'm sorry, not Drudge. Zero Hedge put out a great article titled "Trump aims to cut the neocon deep state off at the knees," and
yep.
This article is a great article. It goes through in details. I mean, it all started right when he didn't want to, take the intelligence briefings, right? Why do I want to take intelligence briefings from an agency that has failed to prevent 9/11, that failed to identify the supposedly weapons in Iraq, that supposedly told us that the Syrians were using poisonous gas on their own people, that waged a false war? I mean, what is there to believe? Why would you want that type of intelligence report?
Yeah, exactly. And the whole thing with Brennan, we have new technology now, and we're able to this is him in the interview saying, oh, we have better intel now than we've ever did. It's light years away. How come you didn't see ISIS? No, nobody foresaw that coming. Nobody really saw that. We don't know how ISIS happened. We all know the game in the charade. We know what the deep state's doing. We all know 9/11 is an inside job. We know what the deep state is doing in the sense of creating and helping to fund and giving the logistical support to USIS. We all know that. And this submission, the writer is Charles Hugh Smith of Two Minds blog that Zero Hedge reposted here. But great article. Okay, and it falls in line with what I've been saying for quite a while. When we look at the elites, a lot of people have the elites. They are the all-powerful Illuminati. They are working within the very, very hand of Lucifer is up their rear end and controlling every one of their actions. It is the invisible hand. They're moving everything with scientific, mathematic, and pinpoint precision. We have no hope against them. They control everything, all controlled opposition. Any opposition is controlled opposition. There is no hope. Lay down your arms. Lay down your arms. Head to the basement and eat your cat food. That is, we have this impression that the elites are this monolith, this impregnable monolith that is working in unison, that is working with absolute precision, and there's nothing we can do about them. All right. And Charles Hugh Smith in this article says this. He says, I've long held that America's deep state, the unelected national security state, often referred to as the shadow government, is not a unified monolith, but a deeply divided ecosystem in which the dominant neocon neoliberal oligarchy is being challenged by elements which view the neocon neoliberal agenda as a threat to national security and the interests of the United States. I call these anti-neocon neoliberal elements the progressive deep state. If you want a working definition of the neocon neoliberal deep state, Hillary Clinton's quip, we came, we saw, he died, is a good summary. A bullying, arrogance-soaked state within a state pursuing an agenda of ceaseless intervention while operating a global murder inc. Supremely confident that no one in the elected government can touch them until Trump. Until Trump unexpectedly wrenched the presidency from the neocon candidate. The neocon deep state response was to manufacture a mass media hysteria that Russia had wrongfully deprived the neocons' candidate, Hillary Clinton, of what was rightfully hers, the presidency. The neocons operate their own version of the divine right of political nobility. The neocon neoliberal strategy was to delegitimize Trump's victory by ascribing to it, quote, Russian hacking, a claim that remains entirely unsubstantiated. Now that this grasping at the straws, the Hail Mary coup attempt by a politicized CIA and its corporate media mouthpiece has failed. The neocon deep state is about to find out the progressive deep state finally has a president who is willing and able to cut the neocon neoliberals off at the knees. If you want documented evidence of the split in the deep state, sorry, it doesn't work that way. Nobody in the higher echelons of the deep state is going to leak anything about low intensity war being waged because of one thing everyone agrees on is that the deep state's dirty laundry must be kept private. As a result, the split is visible only by carefully reading between the lines, by examining who is being placed in positions of control in the Trump administration, and reading the tea leaves of who is, quote unquote, retiring, i.e., being fired or quitting, which agencies are suddenly being reorganized, and the appearance of dissenting views in journals that serve as public conduits for deep state narratives. As I have long held that Wall Street's political dominance is part and parcel of the neocon neoliberal ideology, and the progressive elements in the deep state also want to finally limit the power of the big banks and the rest of the Wall Street crowd. In the split in the deep state is a reflection of the profound political disunity that is occurring in the United States. In other words, it isn't just a disunity in the masses or the political elites. It's a division in all levels of our society. The cause is not difficult to discern. The concentration of wealth and political power in the hands of a few is generating levels of inequality that threaten democracy, the social order, and the vitality of the economy. As someone who has studied the deep state for 40 years, I find it ironic that so many self-identified quote-unquote progressives do not understand that the U.S. military is now the progressive element. It's a civilian leadership, the neocon neoliberals, who are responsible for leading the nation into quagmires and handing the keys to the chicken coop to the wolves of Wall Street. When military leaders such as Eric Shinsky questioned the neocons' insane strategy in Iraq, essentially a civilian fantasy of magical thinking, the neocons quickly cashiered him. Shinsky was a wounded combat veteran of Vietnam who rose to the ranks, the exact opposite of the coddled, never get my hands dirty elites in the civilian neocon neoliberal leadership. To the degree that the U.S. has become a third world oligarchy owned and controlled by financial political elite, then the U.S. military is one of the few institutions that hasn't been corrupted by top-down politicization and worship of Wall Street. Shinsky et al. Did not amass a fortune from Wall Street like Bill and Hillary. The simple dictum, follow the money, maps the lay of the land rather neatly. The neocon neoliberals have run the nation into the ground. They must be fired and put out to pasture before they can do more. This includes the fake progressives and the fake conservatives alike who have enriched themselves with neocon neoliberal oligarchy. If you're surprised that the Democratic Party, the CIA, and Wall Street are all hugging each other in some cozy neocon neoliberal oligarchical embrace, you shouldn't be. Open your eyes. That is a fantastic article. And that, CJ, paints the picture to anybody who's got a mind to really look at the analysis, to understand that what we've been saying for a while. It's the good guys versus the bad guys. There's nothing here that is unified. And we're seeing the end of globalization. We're seeing the end of the globalists who are absolutely in a panicked tizzy because they don't know what to do, man.
They don't. I mean, for the last several years, they have been, shifting powers, violating laws and then excluding themselves for the top 1%. If you look at the earnings disparity, the last several years where the top 1% are gaining at a 40% rate. It just the wheels are falling off me, and there's no doubt about it. That I think so many times people give them way too much credit as far as what they can do, but our
Yep.
power is in our numbers. Our power is in the people that are waking up and seeing this and exposing it.
Absolutely.
Yesterday we also saw that former CIA director James Woolsey cut ties with Trump. Well, that's all over blasted in the MSM right now. Well, there's a reason. This guy is part of the deep state. He was a director, through 93 through 95. So his ties is much in line with the deep state. And of course he's going to break away. And I doubt if he broke away anyway. Trump probably had enough and probably said, you know what, I'm done with you. Get out of here.
Exactly, man. That's exactly what it is. It's the sycophants, the lackeys, the absolute disgusting, unpatriotic globalist pustules who are worshiping at the altar of global government. This oligarchy is breaking apart, man. It's breaking apart, and I thank God it's the American people. See, that's why they're not buying into it. They're not buying into the media anymore. It's a failure. The mainstream media is the greatest failure in 2016. The far left is the greatest failure in 2016, and I thank God we can put that behind us, man. Which brings us to what is the deep state? One of the arms of the deep state is none other than Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs thinks. What are they thinking for this year in 2017, Siege?
Well, the whole thing with the stocks, and stocks are going to be volatile in 2017. Well, the stocks the last several years have been all manipulated, right? There's
Right.
no true numbers that are there.
No.
So so it's kind of a joke that they'd come out and say, oh yeah, we think that 2017 the stocks are, why? That the funny money is no longer going to be coming out to fund the market up. I mean, what's coming at it? So so interesting enough that that this article came up, and it looks like investors in two of the 2016's wildest sectors won't be getting a break from big swings in the new year. Exchange trade funds that track gold miners and biotechnology stocks, both of which saw massive daily moves last year, will remain among the most volatile in 2017, according to Goldman Sachs.
Absolutely. And when I get Dex back on Tuesday, he's gonna be back in action when we get the trading terror dome going. He's gonna explain that because Dex has been painting junior gold miners forever at this point, and there is gonna be some massive moves on that. But it's funny. Here's Goldman. Here's one of the market manipulators. Here's one of the guys that own. Everybody knows about Goldman's black box. If you hadn't known what that is, Google it and you will see what Goldman's black box is. It was actually a very advanced computer program and system that was set up to run HFTs and manipulate stocks in the fastest way. They paid a ridiculous amount of money to have that computer box strategically positioned closest to the wall where the fiber optic cables are coming out in some of these exchanges. So this way they can get in and out of the trades. They're fighting for milliseconds. People don't understand this. If you need to understand HFTs, the greatest book I can recommend to you is Michael Lewis's Flash Boys. It is awesome, and I hope they turn that into a movie because every single other Michael Lewis book they turn into a movie, like The Big Short, has been awesome, has been fantastic. Moneyball,
Great movie.
fantastic.
Great movie.
Yeah, wonderful movies, man. And I hope they do that. There's rumors that they're going to do that with Flash Boys. I recommend they do. I would go see it. Flash Boys really highlights for you. There are Wall Street firms that are paying tens of billions of dollars. So their server that's sitting across the river in New Jersey, which is the real Wall Street. There's no Wall Street in Wall Street anymore. That's a myth. It's window dressing. The real Wall Street is across the river. It's in Weehawken. It's in Edgewater. It's in Hoboken. That's where it's at. It's in Jersey City. It's right across the river. And these exchanges, CJ, these Wall Street firms are paying tens of billions of dollars. So their server on a server rack could be the closest to the fiber optic cable coming onto the wall. That's like premium space. They will pay anything. Why? Because that will put them a tenth of a millisecond ahead of everybody else. They are fighting for a tenth of a millisecond. Why? Well, when you have a rigged economy where everything is moving with high frequency trading, where stocks are moved 80% right now, 84, almost 90% right now, where it's computer to computer with no human intervention whatsoever, where a position can be moved in 10,000 shares at once, in and out in less than a blink of an eye. I mean, think about it. Your eye, when you blink your eye, it's 150 milliseconds, faster than your eye could blink. Okay, 150 milliseconds. We're talking about, tenth of a millisecond here, and being able to move stock positions. Man, it's everything. And here's Goldman Sachs coming out saying, "Hey, 2017 is going to be volatile." What are they saying?
Yeah.
What are they really saying here? Are they saying that, um, are they trying to get investors to sell so they can buy and ride it up? Because we all know we're heading towards that 29,000 point Dow. We all know we're heading there, man.
Yeah, right. And they point out, that this comes to us from Market Watch, that these stock market sectors will be the most volatile in 2017. So, again, they're pinpointing and isolating that, yes, and absolutely that in terms of the gold miners, they posted the best 26 performance across the ETF universe, whether judged or an absolute or risk adjusted basis. And the options market is pricing in another big year for volatility with the Van Eck Vectors gold miners. So they're waging on here saying it's going to be volatile for those, for obviously the miners and the precious metals. But based upon what they're listing here is they're saying that by some forecasts, gold could fall below 1,000 an ounce this year. It is currently trading about 1,174. Others remain bullish on precious metals, citing uncertainty over President-elect Donald Trump and the U.S. Federal Reserve.
Right, exactly. And yesterday we had that dismal jobs report, that came out, and now you have a lot of the pundits saying as the week ends, the jobs report is hogging the limelight, but this star economic release has got its share with its CIA critic in chief. So it's time to is it time to sell the non-farm payroll data? Strategists don't quite. You seem full of beans ahead of the latest reading on the employment. Quite a few sound bereft of beans. The argument in favor of weaker payrolls exceeded the arguments for a stronger one, says BK Asset Management's Kathy Lean. She highlights buzzkills such as the 42% jump in layoffs. We had a 42% jump in layoffs. A disappointing ADP report yesterday and the rise in ongoing jobless claims. Wait, I thought we had an economic recovery, CJ. I thought Obama left us a recovery where there's so much money, there's so much recovery. What happened?
He even reduced the debt, V.
Oh, that's right. He reduced the debt, and then all of a sudden, as Mr. Obama is out there talking about his legacy. Okay, as he's talking about his legacy, we find out that 94% of the jobs created under the Obama era, which CJ, it felt like 16 years of Obama, didn't it? It just felt so long. I wanted the pain to end. So 16 years of Odumbo, and we find out that 94% of the jobs he's created were all part-time jobs, right? We find out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. And we find out. Go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, yeah, they're part-time jobs, and then they count, each part-time job as two jobs.
Yeah. Exactly. And now the truth is starting to hit the fan, and now the Wall Street's like, oh, maybe why are we having this rally? They're doing a sell-off. They might be doing a sell-off where it gets the weak hands out of the market. They're going to buy up more of these shares, and then it's going to be off to the races. Same thing with Bitcoin. Remember what Cliff High said, okay? Cliff High said it's going to hit the 830 to 840 range. I don't exactly remember the exact numbers, but he said it's going to hit the 840, 830, 840 range 3 times, and then it's going to go all the way to 1400. It's scary how, it's scary how accurate he was on that Bitcoin stuff, man.
Oh, yeah, very, very. Yeah, and I can't remember. I listened to the interview as well. We need to get Cliff back on. We need to get with him and get him back on soon.
Absolutely correct, sir. Absolutely correct. And as for when they're turning bearish, they're talking about, is it time to call for a big short? Because there's unambiguous signs of bullish investor positioning. There's similarly enthusiastic profit expectations, hawkish policies from the Fed and the European Central Bank, outperformance of last year's laggard risk assets such as European stocks. Is it time for a big short? No, these guys are going to probably get ready for a major ramp up with the market, man. That's exactly what's happening, and this is also why Goldman's put out that here's what Goldman Sachs told millionaire clients about 2017. This is We might have a bumpy ride, but the U.S. economy will not be derailed. That's the message Goldman Sachs Private Wealth Management has telegraphed to its high net worth clients. In somewhat gloomy 90-page note, Goldman Sachs, Sharman Mosavar Rahmani, and Brett Nelson warned that the bull market is getting stretched and that valuations look rich. How can anyone do a valuation in this market is beyond me. Since the trough of global financial crisis, we've consistently emphasized U.S. preeminence and maintained a strategic outweigh to U.S. equities relative to global market capitalization weighted benchmarks. Tactically, we have had an outweight allocation of U.S. equities and U.S. high-yield bonds from early as 2008, and even when U.S. equities became more expensive, we continue to recommend that clients stay fully invested in their strategic allocations. Nevertheless, they recommend that investors stay fully invested in U.S. equities. Of course, I'm going to tell them to stay fully invested.
Oh yeah, yeah. They do these reports, okay, and other banks do the same thing, just so that they can send out to their financial advisors as they sit down with their clients, and they're dealing with high net worth investors, saying, okay, well here's our prospectus, here's what we're predicting for the future. So you just need to stay steadfast. Keep your funds in this fund here that's earning you 1%. As you can see that through the last 30 years, the roller coaster, the ups and downs. They do this all the time. These reports that they put together are just so freaking crazy. Make
It's
no sense.
No, exactly, man. It's no sense whatsoever, bro. Makes no sense whatsoever. It kind of shows you what are they trying to get at? What are they trying to get at? Oh, there's no proper value. We all know in a manipulated market, how are you going to even get proper valuations? How's that even going to happen? How's that even possible, man? It's absolutely ridiculous, bro. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, moving on, bro. What's on? What else is on the radar?
In terms of the Bitcoin and the future of it, and I know some people are listening and say, okay, here we go, going back to Bitcoin, but I'm excited around the technology that the blockchain, as it's going to be utilized more and more to help with keeping things from being manipulated the way that they have been. So with that, I think the adaptation of blockchain being utilized, I think that's only going to continue to boost Bitcoin, and I'm very excited to. It's a great timing tonight. Live tonight, Tone Base is going to be with us, and he has spent. He left the financial sector altogether, and in terms of like investments and stocks and things like that, to focus solely on the blockchain and Bitcoin. I think he's at least, like 5-10 years into it. So it'll be very interesting to get with him tonight. And then you see several reports that are coming out. Fintech banks, beginning of decentralization, possible Bitcoin adaptation. This is an article that came out where hopefully, they're going to start using some of the technology that's been around Bitcoin to hopefully, sure things up, just to provide some safeguards in place. So hope maybe at some point the manipulation can stop.
Yeah, exactly. People want honesty, man. And here's the thing. Fintech, and if you don't know what fintech is, financial technology. Okay, financial technology is going to be hot, scorching hot in 2017 going forward, because there's amazing technological breakthroughs that are occurring all throughout the world on so many fronts. And one of the things that has been the slowest to adapt to real technology is banks. I mean, let's be honest here. In 150 years of banking, the only thing that the banks have given customers is an ATM machine and a debit card. That is the only technology. But during that 150 years, what they have done on the inverse is figure out so many creative, technologically advanced ways on how to rip you off. They have figured out masterful ways to screw you over. So what fintech is doing, and the article states here, this is from Credit Union Times, fintech banks, a new Uber. Okay. It was saying that the Office of the Control of the Currency, the OCC, announced that it would consider applications by fintech companies to organize a national bank to conduct their activities. This should be a wake-up call for many institutions, but particularly credit unions and other community institutions. The action by the OCC was inevitable in the light of developments in the financial services industry that makes good economic sense, since electronic banking is cost-effective and can reach consumers anytime of day or night. The OCC clearly has emerged as a leader and an enthusiast of wedding technology to the bank charter. The OCC noted that such banks should be the case, will be subject to the same safety and soundness standards, albeit with modifications due to the nature of their business. And what they're basically stating is the credit union industry has already suffered well-known adverse effects of technology due to the impact of Uber on the taxi industry and medallion lenders in New York City metropolitan area. Like many competitive threats, the impact was not recognized until it was too late. The Uber effect has taken some time to take hold, and now it's in full force. In fact, the term Uber has been turned into a verb. A credit union client of mine told me that he did not want to be Uberized. And this is what's happening. Basically, look, fintech is creating ways where you don't have to be in a bank anymore. Okay, fintech is going to make it in a way that your smartphone becomes your bank. They're going to make it in a way where you can deposit checks, scanning it into your smartphone directly into your account. You can manage your money, you can pay your bills, you can send money, you can do everything right through your smartphone. Fintech is opening up that huge. And now we also know that fintech is also on the forefront of a lot of the blockchain development. And then with the blockchain development, what we're also figuring out, CJ, is the appetite that's being whet for cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin. Think about it. The reality and the possibility that one day on your phone you'll have banking, and that bank is not only able to handle traditional currency, but also have Bitcoin right there. So you can do swaps in and out. You can pay in Bitcoin. You can pay in currency. You can do whatever the hell you want. That's what fintech makes it possible. We're going mobile, and we're becoming. This is all part of ubiquitous computing, man. This is all part of the Internet of Things. This is part of the new life, the new future. This is great technology, and it's getting farther and farther away from these banking traditional monoliths from controlling everything, man.
Right.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll give you a little insider baseball here, V, as well, that when you look at some of the things that the major banks are doing, and the background information is this to everyone, is that the investment side and the stock owners of the banks are already telling the banks that, listen, you need to get rid of probably about 80% of your banks. Okay, they know this. They know that banks are no longer profitable to be operated the way that we were accustomed to 20 or 30 years ago, where you walk in, there's 5 or 6 tellers that are there. So they've been aggressively retrofitting their branches, and when you walk in, there's 2, maybe 3 of these EATM kiosks. There's maybe 1 teller back there, right? So they're streamlining this enough. And what they're also doing to put the cash controls in place, the last couple years they went and they've instituted that you cannot deposit money cash into any account that you're no longer an owner of. When you come in, V, to change currency out, let's say you come in with some 20s and say, hey, I need hundreds. Okay, anything that you bring in over $100 cash, they're asking you for your identification, so that way they can track who's carrying the cash. So they're putting all these things in place in preparation for this happening. And this goes right to it, is that banking is going to evolve completely, and fintech is kind of showing us and providing us the framework of what that's going to look like in the future. So the war on cash, it's been a silent coded war, but it's already started here in the States. It's happening already. It's not a fake thing or a conspiracy thing. Is that the banksters do not want cash. They want us a cashless society. They want maybe 1 or 2 banks strategically in areas where maybe high worth investors can come in and take care of whatever. But yeah, the whole sector is going to be changing dynamically, and it's happening quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, technology is a game changer, man. Technology's changed the game in everything that we do. That's why this whole thing about, oh, we're gonna shut off the internet. You can't shut the internet off. Internet is not a utility anymore. It's not the information superhighway. It's not a tool to go just for emails. The internet is life itself. And that's something that you just cannot stop or quell at this moment, man. That's what people don't realize, CJ. They just don't realize, you know. Anyway, we got some other things going on. We got what's going on with OPEC, brother? There's some rumblings out of there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Their whole allegiance with the deep state regarding, hey, we're never going to slow down production. We're going to keep oil dirt cheap so we can you called it several years ago that this was designed to bankrupt, oil production, fractional, here in
Mhm.
the fracking, everything here in the U.S. And then obviously they did it in cahoots with try to to bankrupt Russia as well, right? So all this was in place. So now they're like looking at what happened in Syria. They're like, oh no, poor us, right? Our revenues are way down. We don't have it. So what are they gonna do? Start cutting production, right? So we've already seen some gas prices here in the U.S. Start to go up. So I think what you're going to happen is OPEC's going to start cutting production here pretty soon, and it'll be interesting to see if Iran follows in line with that. If Iran will, because Iran's outside of OPEC, right? I mean, Iran just recently could start selling the oil on the open market,
Yeah.
and they're selling it in euros. Is that correct, B? Is that what?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, man. The whole thing with OPEC, especially the last few years, they're behaving less and less like a cartel, and they're behaving more as every man for himself. So for OPEC saying that, yeah, well, the promise of production cuts from OPEC and its partners sent oil rallying in 2016, now traders want proof that they're delivering on those vows, and it won't come easy. The challenge: building a coherent picture from a morass of data that emerges at each step along the process, from wellheads where the oil is produced to the tankers that carry it and the depots that store it. Unlike in the U.S., where output is published weekly, members of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, can't can take months to disclose their production. Beyond that, their data can be at odds with independent surveys, and countries have been known to cheat on such deals. With a rising U.S. rig count offering a bearish undertone, each new hint of the Accord's implementation can be expected to swing prices. The market could be whipsawed more by data and headlines than in the past, said Michael Cohen, head of energy commodities research at Barclays PLC in New York. In a telephone interview, data lags can be a primary problem in tracking cuts. Well, here's the deal, okay? Are they going to cut? No, they're not going to cut. Not now. Nobody knows. Okay. And the other thing is this: the Saudis are running out of oil. There's a huge problem with the Sauds, and what they're going to be doing in terms of they're keeping oil prices low. Nobody's cutting anything, and I think it's going to be this way at least until the summer. So everybody's waiting for this oil cut, and they're waiting for the production so they can normalize. I don't see it normalizing anytime soon, CJ. I really don't.
No, I agree with that, and you're absolutely right regarding Saudi Arabia. If you look at their intervention, what they're doing in Yemen, I mean that should be a perfect sign of they're running strategically low and trying to find other ways to shore up more oil.
Yep. And let's touch base real quick on Turkey with my main man, Pepe Escobar. Has a great article on RT. Pepe is the man. Love his work. He's the one who coined the term exceptional stand. Love it. And the Empire of Chaos. It had to do with the recent assassination that occurred in Turkey of the Russian ambassador. And it turned out, CJ, that the killer, the police officer who shot him, was somebody who belonged to the Fethullah Gulen arm that has infiltrated many aspects of Turkey. Fethullah Gulen, who was being protected by the U.S. government in Pennsylvania, said he is a CIA man. So you guys go ahead and put the two and two together, right, Siege?
Exactly, V. And then if you look at the recent terrorist activities on New Year's Eve, they're tying it somewhat. Just articles are breaking here recently regarding potentially could be linked back to the same group that did this assassination. So again, with Turkey, this is every effort to try to keep them in line with the deep state, but it's too late for that. I mean, their negotiations with Russia and their pivot of what you're seeing, Turkey there for a while is playing both sides of it, of the table, trying to utilize it, but I think those days are numbered.
It really is. And Pepe Escobar says the big picture couldn't be more absolutely unbearable to the neocon, neoliberal Atlanticists. Ankara, slowly but surely, is veering the Eurasianist way. Bye-bye to the EU and eventually NATO. Welcome to the New Silk Road, aka the China-driven One Belt, One Road initiative, the Russia-driven Eurasian Economic Union, the Shanghai the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO, the Russia-China Strategic Partnership. and Turkey as a key hub in Eurasia integration. For all that to happen, Erdogan has concluded Ankara must be on the Russia, China, Iran long-term strategy to pacify and rebuild Syria and make it a key hub as well of the new Silk Roads. Between that and an alliance of fleeting interest with Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the U.S., it's certainly a no-brainer. But make no mistake, there will be blood. That is what's happening. See, I've been writing about this stuff for years, man, and now it's happening.
Oh, at least 3 years. You've been mapping out the new Silk Road and all the dominoes that are coming into play now, and everything's falling into place. The whole Syria thing. I mean, it's just truly, and gosh, we said this all of last year, at least the second half. But it truly is amazing time to be watching all this, right? The deep state,
really
the CIA being taken apart, to look at the new Silk Road of what's happening, and you've been calling it for the last several years, V.
I mean, these are terms. Readers of Rogue Money, readers like a lot of the articles I put out with Ken, James, Wolf, people who've been following us at Rogue Money for a while. These terms are familiar terms. We're like one of the only few outlets in the world that are in the West that have been talking about this. One Belt, One Road. You guys know what that is. New Silk Road. You all know what that is. Eurasian Economic Union. You all know what that. SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Everybody else has no clue about. Everybody else is myopic. Everybody's it's just the United States and there's nothing else outside. No, there's a whole big world with a whole lot of power and a whole lot of money. And they are moving in such a way that unless we are involved, which I believe wholeheartedly with Donald Trump we will be, if we are involved with that movement, we will also make a lot of money, and we will usher in an era of peace and prosperity, the likes of which have never been seen before, CJ.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
absolutely.
we're facing.
Absolutely. It's going to be a new renaissance. It really will be.
Absolutely, man. Without a doubt. And did you hear that crazy story that China goes on a $26 trillion commodity binge?
Yeah, what's up
Did
with
you
that?
hear about that?
What's up with
Bro,
that?
What I mean,
What do they know?
Chinese traders. Seriously, what do they know, right? Like Chinese investors traded a record volume of commodities futures last year as speculators poured in and out of the market on bets that shortages are looming. Combined aggregate trading volume of the Shanghai Futures Exchange, Dalian Commodity Exchange, and the Zhengzhou Commodity Exchange jumped 27% from the 2015 levels to 4.1 billion contracts. According to that data, emailed by the China Futures Association, turnover across the bourse was 30% to record 177.4 trillion yuan, or about 26 trillion. The data shows Chinese investors flush with credit and hunting for returns piled into commodities futures last year, spurred by bets that the government's efforts to cut industrial capacity will lead to shortage of raw materials. They charged the market several times in 2016, bought everything from iron ore to cotton, driving up prices and stoking fears of a bubble. Authorities introduced curbs on excessive speculation to quell the mania, with the hope that supply-side reform will successfully reduce overcapacity in China, especially in the country's coal and steel sectors. Some commodities futures surged amid a trading frenzy last year. Unbelievable, man. So they're getting heavy into commodities. I mean, you notice this while we in the West are beating down commodities and really inflating the securities and the equities and all that. The Chinese are going hard and heavy, man. $26 trillion all in last year on commodities.
Huge.
Bro, you cannot, simply say, oh, that's a stupid move. Is it? What do they know? Are they Are they getting ready for something because they know that the entire dollar-denominated securities market, the equities market, is about to have a major correction? Do they know something that we don't know? I mean, let's see how it plays out. It's going to be very interesting. But 26 trillion in on commodities, that's a huge number. That is something not to scoff at, number one. And number two, it's something to really take into consideration. We can't just write people off, oh, it's a stupid move. No. These people aren't stupid. They're not stupid. So, anyway, moving on. CJ, I think that brings us to the end of the show, bro.
We're there already? Oh yeah, it is.
We're
Holy
there
cow!
already.
Wow, wow.
We're there already.
Yeah, flew by.
Give them your closing comments, my good man.
Yeah, everyone. Hey, thanks for being with us this morning. Definitely check out roguemoney.net. Don't forget, like we covered last Friday, that if you have any plans on attending Anarchapulco 2017
Yes.
in the later part of February, there is a link on roguemoney.net. Click on that link. When you go to Anarchapulco and when you hit the checkout, enter the code ROGUE at checkout and it'll get you a 10% discount. So yeah, excited about that partnership. And next year, I know we will definitely make Rogue Money present and lots of great things happening for this year as well. V.
Absolutely. And once again, folks, this is V, the Gorilla Economist, coming to you. Once again, the Gorilla in the Economist, trying to give you all the news and information from around the world. Follow us on roguemoney.net, on Twitter, at the Rogue Money Facebook, as well as our podcasting. Download the podcast on your Apple iPod. Your Apple podcasting app, as well as Apple News and Google. One of the Google Play Store. Just get the Pocket Cast or any one of those podcasting apps. You just search for Rogue Money. You'll see us pop up. With that being said, again, guys, New Year's resolutions. Everybody wants change. Everyone wants to keep do something new. They want to hit the reset button on their life. Hit the reset button on your financial future. Get the credit score you deserve. Check out myfreedomnow.us. The team over there will lead you to the promised land. This is the one and only V, the Gorilla Economist. We are over. We are out with my main man, CJ, the uncanny one. We're out. Peace.